This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
The award-winning Lee Pitts Live is brought to you by Hodges University. Build the future you at Hodges University.
Southwest Florida, welcome to another edition of Lee Pitts Live. We are here at Southwestern Vocational Training. If you want to get into the healthcare field, get your certifications, you want to go to Southwestern Vocational Training. It is a fabulous place to get trained, located right here in the Cape. Google it, look them up, and tell them Lee Pitts Live sent you. We have a fabulous show in store for you today. We'll get a chance to talk to the distinguished candidate for Lee County School District 7, Dr. Derek Darnell is here. Also get a chance to talk to Elaine Cottrell, the author of Breana's Full Circle. Looking forward to talking to her about that fabulous book. And we'll talk to Keisha Allen, the performance art director at the Quality Life Center. All of that is happening here on Lee Pitts Live, and it's happening right now. We'll be right back. Keisha, you know your last name was Allen. Southwest Florida, I am so excited to talk about this great book, Breana's Full Circle. And we have the author here of this book, Elaine Cottrell. To be quite frank with you, when I was reading this book, I couldn't put it down. And all those great stories about the West Indies and the island and the Caribbean and then moving on here into the States, all laid out in this great book. So if you love a great suspense, adventure, life story, this is the book for you, Elaine Cottrell. Let's bump you in. Welcome to Lee Pitts Live.
Thank you, Lee. Nice to be with you.
Well, I'm just thrilled. Now, you're a member of Mount Olive AME Church.
Yes, I am.
Go ahead and shout somebody out there. Shout your pastor out.
Hi, Pastor. How are you, Pastor Gibbons, Sister Gibbons? Hi.
All right, tell me you're on TV.
I'm on Lee Pitts Live.
There you go. There you go. See, now I got you loose. Now, first of all, let's talk about the title of the book, Breana's Full Circle. Tell us about that title.
Okay, the title, I came up with the title because of the way this story played out. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like she ended up right where she began. Mm-hmm. That it's a suspense, and I don't want to give it away.
Okay. And I noticed when I was reading the book,
Mm-hmm.
The way you were able to move your words around, the way you were able to keep that suspense going,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like put it down and you want to pick it back up. You know, it's like, okay, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm.
How does one, was this your first book?
Yes.
Okay, I'm assuming you're going to write another book. But how does one go about that? When you first started writing, how did you first come to that? Hey, I'm gonna do this book and I'm gonna keep it suspenseful.
Well, for me, it wasn't hardly because from way back, as
Mm-hmm.
far as I can remember, I always have some kind of drama
Mm-hmm.
playing out in my head. Then when I had my children, I started making up stories for them.
Really?
Then when I have my grandchildren, I started writing those stories down.
Okay.
And one day, I picked a story that I could relate to in my own life, and it took wings. And before I knew it, it was 464 pages long, a novel. I had to go back to the beginning of the book and change it from a children's book to a real novel.
Excellent.
For adult.
Now, who is Elaine Cottrell?
Elaine Cottrell is a retired nurse. She is a storyteller. She is not your conventional writer. Her objective is to get the story out of her head and on the pages to share with her readers, hoping that it will evoke the same emotions that it evoked in her while she was writing. The book describes the upheaval that a young girl went through, and then she was so faithful that even all the things that she went through, she never gave up. Mm-hmm. So when I was writing this story, like I said, I'm not a conventional writer. The rules that I don't know, I broke. And the rules that I know, I bend because I want this story to flow my way.
That's right.
So I want it to be my story, and I wanted somebody to enjoy it the way I enjoy writing it. And sometimes some of those rules and regulations and political correctness gets in the way.
But I think I'm glad you did it that way, because when I was reading the book, it felt so comfortable. You know, it wasn't something, I mean, it was fancy enough that it was a high quality book. Now, when I was reading, I was saying, okay, now if this were a movie, people would really enjoy that movie. Do you ever think about it in that way as well?
As a matter of fact, my publisher wrote me about it, then asked me the same question. Have you ever thought of seeing this in a motion picture?
Okay.
So that's something that's being thought about.
Well, if you think about it heavy enough, just know we got a filmmaker right here, and we'll introduce you to him as well.
Okay, great.
Right. Tell our viewing audience about the setting. Where does most of this story takes place?
The early part of this story took place in New York. And then from there, it went to Atlanta. But the major part, the grown-up part, took place in Jamaica. So the story took the girl from New York to Atlanta to Jamaica.
Fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction, it's fiction, but you know, every lie have a little truth in it.
So you drew something from your personal life?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
That's what I'm getting at. How much of this, when I was reading it, how much, like, if you had to put a percentage on it, what percentage of it would you say is your personal story?
I would say maybe 60%, because the part where she experienced the emotional upheaval because of being left behind or being abandoned, so to speak, that I can relate to, and the way that she lived her life spiritually, that's all mine.
Okay, great. That was going to be my next question in terms of spirituality. That comes out heavily in the book, and faith and overcoming obstacles, and that there will be a better day sometime. Talk about that and how you were able to translate it to the book.
I grew up in the church, and I say the church because as far as I'm concerned, it's one church. I grew up in the church, and from a young age, and everything that came from the pulpit, I always tried to be obedient and to live by it. But as I grew older and started reading the Word for myself, I discover that a great part of what we heard from the pulpit have mostly to do with doctrine rather than the Word. So that provoked me a little bit to dig deeper and to apply my life to it. And it has helped me so much. It has freed me so much, you know, from some of the unnecessary things that we were bound to, you know. And as I do that, I use the book. When I started writing the book, I decided to use the book as a platform to address some of those issues that has plagued me over the years.
Now, one of the things that comes out in the book is there's, you know, of course, the West Indies, Jamaica, and all of that. The response that, well, who would you say is the audience for this book? Would it be teenagers? Would it be adults? Would it be everybody? Who's the audience?
I would say between 15 to 100, because there's something in there for everybody. And the reason I put it at 15 is that they would grasp more what is being said than the younger.
Did you ever think one day that you would write a book?
No, I never thought of writing a book. But like I said, I was writing just the stories for my family and for my children. But because of the connection that I have with the subject in this one, it just grew. And I said, hey, this is a book.
It was excellent. Now, we have your contact information appearing on the screen. It's been appearing where people can get in touch to get the book. And people can also get in touch with you on Facebook and other places as well?
Yes, they can.
What name are you using on Facebook?
J. Elaine Cottrell,
Okay.
and I also have J. Elaine Cottrell novels.com.
Okay. And when
That's
they
my
go to there, they
webpage.
can also find out more information about getting the book too, right?
Yes, they can, and it's also available at Barnes & Nobles. It's available at Amazon, and it's available through my publisher, Archway Publishing.
Final question. Tell us about family, how you value family. I noticed you got whole family showed up to the studio, like 40 people and all of that. Eating up all our food.
Oh.
I'm just kidding, people. I'm just kidding. But you just, and that comes out in the book as well. Family, how important it is.
I think family is the strongest entity on earth, and we should value that. And you know, sometimes something will happen to a member of your family, and you shun that one because of what happened. But that is not the way to bring a family together. What you got to do when you're traveling and one falls, you don't just step over that one and walk away. You got to pull that one up, dust it off, and drag it along with you.
What has been the response from people who've read your book?
Oh my goodness, tremendous. It is so widely accepted. Everybody would call. I got 2 o'clock called in the morning. I said, oh my God, this is what happened. I never expected that. It just came out of nowhere.
People can relate.
Yeah, they relate to
Very
that.
relatable book.
I
And
couldn't
unique.
put it down. It's a page turner.
That's right.
That's what everybody says.
I encourage everybody to get out and get this book. And we're so thrilled to have the author of the book here. And again, the name of the book is Breana's Full Circle by J. Elaine Cottrell, the author. Thanks for joining us here on Leap Year's Live.
Thank you, Lee. It was a pleasure being here.
Okay, hold tight. As the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like J. Elaine Cottrell who are doing it. We'll be right back when we get a chance to find out what's going on at the Quality Life Center.